welcome to our May Booksplosion live show where we're going to be talking about What We Saw by Aaron Hartzler. We will be having spoilers, but before the spoiler section, I think a lot of people haven't maybe read this book, and maybe we should do a little quick synopsis about it. So What We Saw tells the story about a little town. Is it in Illinois? No, it's in Nevada? Iowa. Okay, it's in Iowa, and it's a really big basketball town. Like, high school basketball is really important, and there's a big party, and something goes, like, there's this whole scandal with a rape situation, and it's all about, you know, who to believe, who, like, the town believes and how they deal with it, and all in processing such a big, I don't know, it's like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a kind of like not the most happy of books, but it's an important book to read. What do you guys have anything to add there?
I just want to add that it's based off of an actual event in time that happened. So this is like a fictionalized version of a real event that took place. So.
Yeah, that's what I got while reading it. I just felt like I was reliving all those news reports from a couple years ago, watching it actually unfold. Yeah, like Christine and Jesse were saying, like, it's an important book and it's a good book, but it also deals with a lot of tough stuff, and you know, it wasn't like a fun read.
It was a quick read, though. Like, it's not something that it's going to take you a really long time to get through. So, I mean, I think it's an important read that you can read in a nice, succinct amount of time. It's not, like, going to be really heavy and dragging on you for a long time. And I found it, like, easy to get through. Like, it was told in a way that you, like, could fly through it. It's told well. It's told well.
And also, we're not, like, super close to the situation because it is a small town. You know, everyone kind of knows everyone, but the girl who, you know, is telling the story from her point of view, she was at this party, but she left early, so she has no idea what happened, and she's trying to piece it together herself. Yeah. Other people in the town have varying amounts of information about what actually happened that night.
Yeah. It's a very compelling story. Like, I wanted to know what happened. I wanted to, you know, help the girl that was in question. It's hard to talk about without spoiling anything. So if you haven't read it yet, I think we all recommend it. You guys recommend it?
I definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
And if you're the kind of person who can read stuff like this that deals with tougher topics, because like I'm not overly sensitive to that, but I was still uncomfortable and like upset reading it.
Yeah.
Very large.
It's not an easy thing to read about at all.
No, I would say though that, like, I feel like I've read or seen things that were, like, more graphic, so it's not as bad.
It's not that it's graphic.
It's just the idea and, like, what you hear, and yeah.
Like my injustice sensors were going off.
Yeah. That was the most frustrating part of it, but okay, let's wait till we get into spoilers. Okay, so Lee, if you haven't read it yet, we're about to talk about what we actually thought of the book in a non-spoiler fashion. So goodbye, non-spoilery people. Goodbye. Okay, Jesse, kick us off with your thoughts.
Okay, well, I'm just going to be a little bit repetitive here and say that I think this is such a powerful and important book, and I'm really glad that, like, it was our choice this month because I think it brought, you know, more awareness to this book, and this covers a really important topic as being, you know, rape culture. But I think it also goes farther than that because it brings awareness to other things like sexism and consent and how to use your voice and speak out. So I really love this book, highly recommend it, and yeah, those are my non-spoilery thoughts, I guess, even though we're supposed to be going into the spoiler section.
I feel like it's a book that kind of, I don't know if it can be taught in high schools because of the rape aspect and because it can be a trigger for people, but I feel like it is the type of a thing that should be exposed to people who haven't been exposed to, like, this sort of ordeal and would lean toward blaming the victim and lean toward, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people in high school have that point of view, and it's so closed-minded and frustrating and mob mentality-esque.
Yeah, it's a good way to introduce these topics to someone who doesn't have any experience with them themselves, to try to, like, present this fictionalized situation where they can like see all different aspects of it and kind of come to terms with what they think is right and what they might have done and what they might do in the future if they're in a situation where they're one of the bystanders and they see something terrible happening. Like, are you just going to ignore it like everyone in this book did, kind of like sweep it under the rug? Like, it's a big hassle, like we don't want to talk about it, can't we just move on?
Yeah. And it's a huge thing it's been a huge thing in colleges everywhere, the whole idea of sports, like people involved in important sporting things, when they get away with stuff like this because the coaches want to sweep it under the rug because the sports are more important than this girl and what he did and everything like that, and it's horrible. I know there's that documentary, The Hunting Ground, that I actually really want to watch, and I heard it's on Netflix now, so I'm going to watch that, but it covers like that whole scandal about like all these universities across the United States that were doing this and like keeping these things under wraps and like pressuring these girls not to go to the police and not to get involved, which is horrible. But even like stuff
at all levels, like they're pressured from their classmates, from their friends, from teachers, from like even in some cases the police are telling them like, do you really want to make a big deal about this? Like, I remember what it's based off of. I believe is the Steubenville rape.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? And like when that whole thing was being covered, like I watched the news unfolding like as it was happening. We were seeing like all the reports and trials and court cases and whatnot, and we were hearing like the reporters and these news outlets commenting on this and being like, "Oh, those poor boys, their futures are ruined."
I know. Oh. It's just so upsetting to hear them say shit like that. And even feminism, which was like I had this perception when I was younger because of how people used to treat feminism, like, oh, they're just like angry women. And to hear that one girl, Chrissy, say shit like that, like, ew, they're feminists. It's just like, and it's so true. Like, it's so true that happens to young girls because the older people are like, feminists are women who are just hate men and like hate everything and oh god, it's just so and he very clearly makes it like she types it into Google and is like, no.
I like that part. I'm also very sick of feminism and feminists being used as like an insult, like, oh, the feminists, like, oh, equality, oh boy.
It was really frustrating reading that girl Chrissy's dialogue. Like, I want to slap her silly.
Not just that, but like the ideas are harmful all around. Like the whole boys will be boys thing, which was talked about in this book as well. Like, that is also so harmful and so degrading to guys. Like, oh, it's just reducing them to like their animal instincts, like they have no willpower. Like, oh, boys will be boys. They do terrible things because they're just that way.
The teacher, I really love that teacher that was like so great about shutting down that shit. Like that one student, he was like she was coming on to me and she was wearing like really skimpy clothing. So what else could I do than rape her? And the teacher's like, excuse me? I mean, like, let's write a list on the board of all the things that you could do other than rape her. It was just, yeah. I didn't mention that we're going to be taking questions on Twitter using the hashtag Booksplosion. So if you have questions about the book or questions for us, go ahead and tweet us with hashtag Booksplosion. We'll be watching that. Yeah, so we have a question from Brittany. She said, how did you guys feel about Ben? And I'm really curious, too, like, what do you guys think you would do if your, like, significant other had seen this and you realized that they had seen this? Like, would you go to the police and not report it?
I don't know, being in that situation also at her age, but what I felt about Ben, I was so suspicious of him the whole time. Like,
yeah, me too.
he had done something way worse. Like, I was expecting him to, like, you know, something, like, he participated in it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, that he had raped her as well.
He was asking Kate to, like, be his alibi or something, and, like, that was more of her struggle with it. I mean, what it turned out, like, I still feel like she made the right decision. Like, she couldn't be with someone after being that. Like, she had to change schools and, like, just get away from everyone in that toxic environment, because it was kind of like the mob mentality kind of thing. Like, everyone was on the same side of, oh, you know, can't this girl just let it go? Like, this vicious rumors, this will all just blow over. Like, can't we just move past this? And she was one of the only ones who was like, no, we can't just move past this. Like, kind of calling them out on their bullshit.
Yeah, the whole time, like, as we got to know him more, I like, didn't think he actually had raped her, but when we saw that video, and I thought he had just walked in on it and then ran out, like, but it looks like he might have been there, like, watching and not knowing what to do, and it's just, that is hard. Like, the fact that party just walked around and, like,
let it happen. Didn't do anything.
It was, like, right out in the open. It wasn't even one person. It was, like, gang rape. It was just, like... Right.
I like that Katie didn't even, like, give him, like, an ultimatum. Like, not an ultimatum. Like, she was like, either go to the cops and we break up, or you don't go to the cops and we still break up. Like, no matter what, she was like, we're not going to be together anymore, you know?
It's just... I really like the way Aaron Hartzler, like, framed the book, and, like, all those one-liners that kind of seemed irrelevant at the time really were prevalent with everything that, like, throughout the story. You know what I'm talking about? Like, the ocean line where, like, it just, when he looked out in the ocean, there is no other side, and, like, the closer you look with the beginning with the video camera and all that stuff. Yeah. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, for sure.
The way the, like, different clips of footage was, like, we start with, like, her and Ben, you know, playing soccer, and, like, how he got the scar, and then we have, like, the news reports, and, like, finally the video of what happened.
Yeah, Chris asks, how did you guys like the portrayal of media, like, Greece change to be seen in history light? Okay, I'm going to reword that to just be, like, how did you guys feel about, like, the way he put Greece into the story and made it kind of, like, work with all the themes and such? I thought that was really, again, I think that was him, like, really cleverly inserting these things that were, like, seemingly irrelevant, but making them really prevalent to, like, the storyline we're going through, because I know the first time I watched Grease, my Nana didn't want us to watch it when we were little because it has all these bad themes in it. But it's so true that, like, it doesn't matter because the music is just so overwhelming. Everything else went over our head.
Right.
But when you watch it again now, like, you see all this stuff that's like, no, that's not the right thing. But the music is so catchy. That's all you really take from it. That's all I really take from it. And let's see here. What did you guys think of Kate's reactions to the rape? Asks Sally.
Kate's friends' reaction?
Friends' reaction.
Kate's friends. It was really frustrating, their friends, except for Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay was the only one that was, like, not even frustrating.
Had a grasp on, like, that this was very wrong.
Right.
I mean, it's frustrating from our perspective as an outsider, but being in their position where they're very closed, like, in this situation, and well, they don't have that outside belief and reason, they have everyone saying, like, oh, these are it's just her side of the story. And, you know, they don't want to believe that would happen. They don't want to believe that these kids that they've grown up with and gone to school with this time at this party they were at, like, they don't want to believe something like that would happen.
Yeah, and it's very much like you got to think that these kids haven't like, you know, known lots of other things because they've been in this town their whole lives. They're still in high school. Like, they don't have that much else to kind of give them that perspective that we have, I feel like, because we're not in their situation, especially, like, the sport mentality that they all seem to grow up in, because that's the only thing that's, like, super prevalent in their little town. So it's, yeah, I like that. That Ralph pep rally they had when they started chanting, like, tough as buck, and then the coach had the nerve to get up there and say, like, what do we do when, like, someone's trying to fight us? We buck them. Like, are you kidding me? Oh, it was, like, disgusting. I couldn't believe that. Especially with that stuff going on. It's just, ugh. And the fact that, like, he knew about the video, like, the day they got back after that party, and he didn't do anything about it. Like, what kind of person is he?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, from Kate's perspective, Kate doesn't know what happened. Like, we don't even really find out that anything happened until, like, a quarter into the book. But so many people were there. So many people know for sure that this happened, and they're still, you know, going in that direction and kind of embracing the whole mob mentality and no guilt, no fault of their own. Like, oh, it's the way it is, and she needs to let it go, and, you know, she's ruining their lives now. Is that really fair?
Yeah. Susie asks, like, what are your thoughts on the reporter Sloan and her methods of getting information? And I like, honestly think that Sloan was just being looked at in a really negative way, but I think she wanted to get justice for Stacy. Like, that's what I think she wanted. And I don't know if her methods were
I didn't always agree with the way that she went about it, though. Yeah. Like the way that she would, like, come up to people, and even the way that she like talked to Katie. Like, I didn't like that either. You know,
I think that she
definitely was, like, very passionate about, you know, getting the truth out there.
Yeah, I think she, like, honestly wanted to have justice for Stacy, but she just was maybe, you know, like, kind of doing it the wrong way at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, definitely, the moment when Kate visited Stacy's house and was leaving, and, like, Sloan bombarded her and, like, had the camera in her face, like, that was the part where I was like, okay, you're being a little bit too aggressive. But kind of was hard to be mad at her because she was the only one, like, actually searching for answers and actually, like, calling these people out on their sort of, like, mob mentality of this is okay and we just need to overcome it. And it's like, no, we need to find out what the hell actually happened. Like, there's a cover-up going on here.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Yeah, definitely. And when she talked to the guidance counselor and the guidance counselor was fired, it just brought it to a whole new level of, like, covering up. It was just like, wow, a lot of people are aware of this, and it's disgusting that they're covering up to this degree. Let's see.
I wonder what would have happened if the guidance counselor had given up Kate's name and been like, this was my source.
Yeah, well, her name got out there because she was just seen with the guidance counselor.
Yeah.
They knew, and she was like, already, everyone was like, ew. Oh my god. The reaction, you know, Dooney's girlfriend, Phoebe, like, when she broke up with him because she realized he was a giant creep and horrible person, and she came back to school, and they were, like, throwing her books around and kicking them on the floor and calling her it's just horrible. It's just, like, this horrible high school mentality. And, like, I like to think that it wouldn't happen, like, I don't know. I don't know that, you know, we're so aware of it now, but, like, we're just in this internet bubble. And I feel like a lot of people are still just like this. And it happens all the time.
That was something that was also interesting in from her brother, like her brother Will, who didn't realize that he was doing things that were problematic, like ranking the girls in his grade and just, like, using these hashtags, not really knowing what they were, and then find out what it is, and it's, like, terrible.
The second I saw R and P, like, rape, I was like, it doesn't look like rape because we know that that's, like, something that happened, and that's immediately what I saw every time I looked at it, and I was like, why? Why would you keep putting this? Like, it's clearly connected to the whole rape case. But the R, what's it called? Something else that was just kept kind of like twinging in my mind when I saw that hashtag was, can you put an and in a hashtag? You can't.
No.
I was just like, this hashtag can't exist.
Where like I don't use the Facebooks, so I don't know, but on Twitter it like cancels out the hashtagness of it.
Yeah, even on Instagram you can't use the hashtag either. That's just a technicality, irrelevant really. But I was just like,
really irrelevant. But
that pulled me out of the book as well too, because I was like, that's not how a hashtag works.
Let's see. Okay, so yeah, her brother and the rating thing. Yeah, it's just like young kids do what they see the other people doing and think it's fine until someone calls them out on it, because you don't know better, unless like you've been shown and told and taught. But yeah, that scene with her brother rating the girls. It was just so upsetting, and I feel like every kind of older sister that's watching her brother grow up has like a fear that they'll do things like this and be horrible, and I'm just so glad that he like kind of realized it after they watched that tape and saw the kind of people he was kind of looking up to like think twice about doing things like that. But like that's a real thing. Like if this happened in your high school, the boys like every year on March Madness they was like rate all the girls in the school, and it was like a known thing that there was like a list. It was just gross.
I don't think we had anything specifically like that. Like there might have been people who did that, but
I wasn't like in the crowd that really knew about it. I just would hear people talking about how like it's March Madness and the guys are rating all the girls in the school. I'd be like, ugh.
And there's also the whole thing behind them, like that website Hot or Not, where you like submit people's pictures or your own picture, then people like vote hot. Like
that was like the beginnings of Facebook.
Back in my day when I was in high school, like that, people would do that, and they would submit pictures of other people as like kind of a way of.
Have you seen The Social Network, Pat?
Huh?
Did you watch The Social Network yet?
I can't hear you.
Did you watch The Social Network yet? The Social Network.
I don't.
Okay, it starts off with him creating that website, and then yeah, like it's like Hot or Not thing, and then like he's like, wait a minute, Facebook. Except better. It's very well written. Okay, let's see. Okay, did you guys find Rachel's religious opinions frustrating? It was clear that she hadn't been exposed to like many other ideas, and I liked how like the science teacher tried to explain to her what the difference between a theory in science and a theory in like a hypothesis in real life. You guys know the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah, where she was talking about evolution, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like, well, it's just a theory, so there's no evidence to back it up. And it's like, no, a scientific theory is like the most reasonable explanation for something that has happened, and there is a shitload of evidence. It's just
like gravity is also a theory. It's not just like a good idea.
Yeah. It's not a hypothesis, and it was like very well explained. I feel like I like anytime someone asks me about that, I want to be like, read this.
I think a lot of her ideas weren't necessarily based in religion, but rather just based on what she's been told and what you know people have just told her to believe, rather than her thinking critically about it. Like when she was talking about how like, oh, you know, women didn't used to be able to vote, and she's like, well, that's not our problem now. And it's like, but that's not the point. Like, we have other problems now. Like, there's still other stuff going on that you should care about, and not just think like, oh, women are designed to take care of men and be the helpers in the family. Like, that's not who made this.
I mean, I feel like a lot of times, like when you're younger, and you haven't learned about everything. It's like what you've been told and what you've been told to believe, and it's hard to like be open until you are ready to be.
It's because we have all these like constructs set up in our society where like, you know, women are supposed to be kind and caring and take care of the men, and men are supposed to go kill an animal and bring it back to us.
I don't want to kill an animal.
Yeah, no, and it's like I could see that she could see. You know, we could see that she could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that she wasn't like saying, like she didn't actually believe that Stacy was in the wrong, but like because our main character knows that like her friend is just scared, and that's why she's saying these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shadow Bookline asks, do you think Ben is a bad person?
I don't know. I feel like conflicted on this because from what we saw, like, he was standing up for people, and like when Phoebe was being like tormented by those guys after she broke up with Douche Canoe, and I mean, Kate did kind of start to stand up to her for her first, and then Ben joined in and was like, "Hey, leave her alone." And Emma, the whole time, like Ben seemed supportive and like he knew that it was wrong, but
Yeah,
there was still something that was like blocking him from being a hero and like standing up and like really putting himself out there to do the right thing. Like he knew it was the right thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't like going against it, but he wasn't really wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's another, like, he's a good person, he just made a mistake, and this is, like, a big mistake to make, but it doesn't make him, like, a horrible person, and he'll learn from it and stuff, but, you know, he also was dealing with the fact that, like, it was going to ruin his college career, potentially. But, yeah, unless he had told them, if he had told them immediately, you know, it would be a different story, but since he let it go and, like...
But, like, we also don't know how much Ben knows. Like, there was a clip of him at the very end of the video, like, maybe he showed up and told them all to stop, and, like, he was, like, the one who put an end to it right there, and we just didn't see that on video.
Well, I feel like he didn't, because then he would be so scared to tell someone, you know? Because right from the beginning, he's like so suspicious when he's like talking to her. She says something about like not being on her phone, and he's like, "Oh, okay." You know, I forget what it was that first day that they hung out afterward, but it was weird.
It was something how she hadn't checked her phone, and he was like, "Oh, good."
Yeah. Okay, can we talk about his tweets for a second on a lighter note? Who tweets stuff like he tweets? Like, oh, perfect end of night with my girl who you're not with yet, so it's like really weird that you tweeted it. It's like,
I don't know, is this how kids these days use the Twitter?
I don't know. But he like tweeted something like, "Oh my God, she's here!" Like she won't see it. And maybe he knows that she like doesn't go on Twitter. It's still weird to me that he tweeted stuff like that. And tweeted a selfie like, headed out to my party. Like, if he was on a basketball team, he'd get in trouble for tweeting stuff that he was drinking alcohol underage.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like, why was that even... Don't these kids know anything about the internet? Like,
I know. It's like, well, I feel like
these kids these days.
I feel like this happens a lot with kids these days in high school because they've just grown up with this stuff. So it's not...
They have grown up with it, but they know that you don't post stupid shit on your Facebook or Instagram because you're not going to survive 5 years.
Things like when you're younger, you do really stupid things, and then you realize it afterward, and then like their stupid things are on Twitter. Our stupid things are in like a journal that you can't read. It's like packed away under a bed.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just so much more public. Everything's so public.
Yeah.
And I feel like
the times have changed.
Times have changed. Like, I'm sure, like, a lot of kids are hyper-aware of it, but there's always those stupid kids. Like,
yeah, but, like, I feel like Ben should know better. He's supposed to be smart.
I know. He's supposed to be really smart, so those tweets threw me off. I was like, what? What is this guy tweeting? He doesn't seem like the type to tweet these things.
Ooh, I like this question from Shadow Book Lion. She says, how do you feel about Kate sneaking in while Stacy was in the shower?
Oh my god, that was weird. I was like,
That
Kate.
was really weird. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you sneaking into her house while she's in the shower?
Yeah, she just went through this really traumatic experience, and then to have someone like waiting for her when she gets out of the shower. Oh my god.
Like that was not okay.
No.
I mean, as far as like levels of not okay in this book, like it was pretty mild compared to the amount of other not okay stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you don't do that.
I know. If I were her, I would have waited outside.
What was she hoping to like get out of that?
I think she was just like in a frenzy, like she needed proof. I think she was
It's
just like
in the moment kind of a thing.
I think she was
Still.
yeah, she was feeling like really like she needed the whole story, and Stacy wouldn't give it to her, and she needed to find proof, and even she knew it was wrong. Like she was in there like, what am I doing? But she like stayed in there.
Yeah, she like couldn't stop herself.
Yeah.
I mean, like, come back 15 minutes later. Like it's not like you're missing an opportunity. Like her mom is at work.
Yeah.
You know, she's home. Like just come back 15 minutes later with you. She's out of the shower.
Yeah. Yeah. Becca asked, like, what would your high school self have done in that main character's position? I think we kind of talked about this, but not exactly like what you would have done. I mean, it's hard to know unless you're there in that moment, because right now we're so many years past high school. And I feel like I've changed so much in like how I would deal with something like this. I don't know. Do any of you guys have an idea?
If I knew all the stuff that I know now, I totally would have gone forward and like spoken out. But I don't know what I was like back then. Things have changed, and I've learned so much.
Yeah. Like when I talk about like how like in high school, like how the kids in high school like aren't open to different, like don't know about this kind of stuff. Like I didn't know about this kind of stuff in high school. Like it took like different for learning and being out in the world more to really learn and get more perspective about it.
Yeah.
If I were Kate, I would have kind of probably felt like her, and then like when I saw that video, I would have reported it the second I saw it.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to think that I would have done something along the lines that she did, but yeah, at that age, like you're still figuring stuff out. Like this is your first encounter with a situation like this. Like you don't know what to do, and like everyone around you is saying it has like one side, like it's a total us against them kind of thing, and you feel like you're kind of going against society just by questioning it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very.
I would have had a hard time like giving my boyfriend's name up to the police at the end. Like that's something that it's really hard to do. And like when she did it, I was even surprised because I didn't know if she was going to.
Because again, he wasn't recognizable. Like it wasn't like, oh, that's totally him. Like.
Yeah, and knowing that like he had a scholarship to Duke, I would just have felt really, really bad. But yeah, it's got really, really hard, and I know she took it really, really hard. It's just a hard situation.
Like it is tough because like we were talking about earlier, like Ben isn't a bad guy. He's just in a bad situation. Like he made a bad decision.
He didn't know how to handle it. Yeah.
He wasn't doing it maliciously. He wasn't.
Yeah, and like if you think about it, like he grew up with this team. Like he grew up with these kids, and like it's gonna give you this. It's gonna be really hard to turn on them because of the crowd mentality and how everyone else views them and how they're so used to like acting as a team and like working together when something goes wrong. So he was like torn.
It's understandable, but it's not okay.
It's not okay. Yeah, that's the thing. It's really hard, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. For anyone who doesn't know, we're taking questions under the hashtag Booksplosion about the book if you want to tweet us any questions. Let's see. How did you guys feel about the hashtag RNP? Yeah, that was horrible. She said, Allie said it made me sick to my stomach, and the same. It was just disgusting. Right?
That was the point. You know, in the beginning of the book, we're like, oh, did it really happen? Like maybe it, you know, maybe she consented, maybe it was fine, maybe she was into it. But the guys, as they were doing it, were acknowledging that it was rape. Like that is disgusting. That's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, like from the very beginning, I was like, no, something happened because this girl wouldn't go to the police in a town like this about something like this unless it was serious.
Yeah.
Susie asked, what do you think about Ben's attitude toward his mother? I think it was like an attitude I would expect from someone his age.
Teenage boy.
Like, it's bound to like start to get to you and you don't know what to do. How to deal with that.
It was an interesting relationship to add that dynamic in there, where like his mom had this obsession with like couponing and getting the deal and like the rush of shopping and like getting money back from the store for buying products and like all the extreme couponing stuff. But like as much as it was like a rush for her, it was also bordering into that place where it was like a sickness, an illness, and Ben was frustrated and he cares about his mom and he doesn't want to see her like delving into this like dark path of obsession, like unhealthy behavior.
And it sounds like he was an only child, so he had no siblings to kind of turn to and be like, how do you think we should deal with this? Like, should we sit her down? Or like, it's hard when he's alone like that and she's the only one he has. Like, I wonder what if he had a grandmother in his life or someone that he could even talk to about it, or if it was just him and his mom.
Yeah.
Because that makes it so much harder to like know what to do.
And it is a really tricky situation when like he's trying to set boundaries and rules for the parent, when like the parent needs someone to kind of like guide them. Like that's a tough place for a 17-year-old to be in.
Yeah, and it was hard to see. You know, his mom is struggling, and she's aware of it in a way. And when he like calls her out on it and yells at her, that one scene, and she gets really like closed and shy when she talks to Kate because she's all embarrassed. So it's so sad because like she doesn't have anyone to talk to. It feels like about it either. Oh, it's just a really sad situation.
You know.
What do you think about the sex scene with Kate and Ben was handled versus the video being described in graphic detail? Well, I think it reflects like each situation too. I mean, they were happy when in consent.
Yeah. And like there is a lot of emphasis on the consent.
Yeah. There's that one scene where she's like, "Stop," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I didn't know where that was gonna go. But I mean, I feel like the scene with the video was like, I don't know, it was described in very like scientific kind of just like we're watching it happen and not experiencing it in detail. Like it was graphic, but in a way that you were kind of separated from it. I don't know. At least that's what I felt like. They were just watching this horrific thing, but not really feeling it until after they turned it off.
Yeah.
Let's see. A lot of people are asking, were you satisfied with the ending?
Yeah, I mean, since the book is told entirely from Kate's perspective, like I feel like Kate's story, Kate's journey had like a satisfying ending. Like she was able to, you know, put herself out there, and it was hard doing that, and it was hard moving on, but she did it, and like she feels good about like having done the right thing. But for all the other perspectives, like, I mean, I was satisfied because we didn't really get to see much of that. Like that's one thing that I kind of wish we'd gotten in this book is more perspectives. That's what I thought we were getting going into this. The synopsis said something about like this like rape case shocks a small town, and we see all these different perspectives of the small town. So I thought we were getting like multiple people's point of view and like more of a mystery that was going on. But
I feel like a lot of ooh, it's excellent. I feel like, ooh, it's really excellent.
I have to do it.
Okay. I feel like a lot of people knew what happened. So if it was told from multiple point of views, it would have been harder to keep the mystery of what was going on. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying,
I
like,
think we saw the different perspectives through Kay's eyes, anyways. You know.
Yeah, we did through her eyes, and that's what made like the mystery kind of last up until the point where they did find the video. Because I think a lot of the girls knew what happened, and were still being completely like on the boys' side, which was
awful.
Awful. Yeah. Chris asked, do you think the attitude of the high school students would be different if the one raped was a guy? And I think yes, of course. And I feel like a lot of guys don't, like, even I know a lot of girls don't come forward with the rape, but I feel like the rape, I'm not positive on this, but I feel like the rape for men is even lower because of the whole, like, masculinity sort of fear to say that, come out and tell someone that they so, like, in high school, I feel like that fear would be even, like, so much greater.
Escalated,
Yeah, that, like, maybe he wouldn't even come forward about it.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, so I don't even know. I feel like the situation would be turned on its head a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like there would be less slut shaming because I feel like that's more of a thing that happens with female victims.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a male victim, like it's more acknowledged, like they're a victim.
Mm-hmm.
But in a lot of cases, like in the case of this book, we see it happen to a female student, and everyone's like, oh, well, she has a slutty reputation with what she was wearing, and she was drinking, and she put herself in that situation.
Yeah. And it was very frustrating to, like, Kate would say, like, it could have happened to any of us. Like, because Kate, like, was blackout drunk. It could have happened to any of them. And how Rachel and Ben kept being like, no, that would never happen to you. And it was just, it would have so easily been her. It could have been any of them. And, like, they do recognize that by the end. But it was frustrating to hear the friends, like, being so ridiculous about it. I did like the idea of their dance being all vintage, on a completely different note. I thought that was a cool, like, how everyone was into, like, getting the vintage clothes for the dance.
Yeah. I don't know, just with all the stuff going on, like, all the little bits of celebration felt, like, inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, when it was a pep rally, I was like, no, this is wrong. This is not.
Oh, the pep rally was so wrong because it was like the team who had done it.
Like, this is time for a sexual education course on consent, and this is not time for a pep rally, like dismissing this girl who is a victim.
Yeah, and like, but it was so true to like one of the biggest issues with all these kind of cases, though. So I'm glad that's like how it was tied in, because I feel like it really drew attention to that fact and that idea, because like I keep like thinking about the whole like that documentary, The Hunting Ground, and it's just like I want to watch it so much more now because I want to like hear more about it. And
it's gonna be such a hard one to watch. Oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to watch, but I feel like it's really important to watch.
Oh yeah, it's so important.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on this earlier, but do you think high school teachers should have students read this book for educational purposes?
Yeah, we definitely touched on. I feel like it would be a great one to read, but I feel like it might be hard because of the whole rape aspect. It's like a really sensitive topic for a lot of different people, and so it would be hard to get it like approved. I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Speak. I haven't read Speak, but I know that's about a rape case, right?
Yeah, it's a similar situation. It's a girl who was kind of date raped at a party, and she like managed to get away, and she like went into the house and she called the cops, and the cops shoot up and bust up the party, and she becomes like a social pariah for being the one who called the cops on the party and like ruining everyone's fun, and like people don't know what happened.
Okay, and that's taught in schools. I know my sister read that in school.
I think this could definitely be taught in schools. I feel like maybe not every school. Like it has to be.
Depends where it is, probably in the country too.
Yeah.
Because they have different rules and stuff.
The kind of book that like people can, opt out of. You have to like permission form from your parents or something like that.
Yeah, maybe, definitely. Oh man, it's a tough topic. I feel like maybe we'll take like one more question before we go to what our next month is going to be.
Okay.
I
have a question from Monica. What did you think of the protesting group that would stand outside the school and said they had the video of the rape? What isn't it called, like the Anonymous?
No, it was like a feminist group, like feminist.
It was this book's version of Anonymous.
Okay, that's what I'm getting mixed up with.
Okay, yeah, I was like, it's definitely called something else.
Yeah.
But I think they played an important role in like triggering the truth to come out.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
they had proof of it actually happening.
Yeah. And they were the ones that idea drove Kate to look for the video. Because they were saying that they had it, and then she saw the principal react to it when the reporter brought it up, and so that's why she looked for it.
I think it was interesting that it was a group that focused on like crimes against women and justice for women, because it gave us a way to kind of tackle that topic in this book. But at the same time, I kind of wish it had been more like the actual Anonymous, which isn't like for or against anything except justice. Like they're all about like, if there's some scandal, if there's something shady going on, they want to reveal that to the world. It's not necessarily like focused on crimes against women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I want to, before we like move on to next month, just want to say like none of us are experts on this topic, so if there was something we said that was politically incorrect, like we apologize and we just need to learn more, and we haven't learned that aspect obviously, but we tried our best to discuss it with the knowledge that we have. And pushing aside this heavy topic, next month we are going to be having a Hunger Games Appreciation Month, where we watch all the movies and then do a discussion at the end of the month about the movies and the books. Kat still hasn't watched the final movie.
Possibly part 2. I'm gonna watch it like this week.
Finally.
So we're gonna have like a big.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big Hunger Games. This is like, I feel like for a lot of us or all of us, was this your first like dystopian?
Definitely my first dystopian.
Yeah, it was my first real dystopian. Like I read The Giver, but that wasn't like, that was like a utopian society.
Yeah.
I think I read this before Divergent.
Yeah, I definitely read it. Divergent didn't like really get big till 2012. This is like 2008. But yeah, so Hunger Games Appreciation Month.
Hunger Games.
Join us, because we never did like a discussion for the last like movie together. We just did like, I did like a review, but that was it. There wasn't much like hubbub. So it'll be fun to discuss Hunger Games in all its glory. Next month, at the end of the month, after VidCon and after all that stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this month for what we saw, and joining us to have this conversation together. And yeah, thanks for joining us. I hope you join us next month. We'll see you next time. I'm Christine.
I'm Jesse.
Pat.
Goodbye.
Bye.